Yo, we are back, Boxer. Do you hear with that's how about you do the intro? How about you do that one, okay?
What's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm Fast. This is Foxer OG, and we are going to go over some MDI discussions about formatting.
Right on. So this week has been very a lot of news is coming around, right? We have Slootbag doing his
MDI roundtable.
Table with a bunch of people and trying to get in a census of what everyone wants out of MDI and what can make it better. Do you have anything that, like, over your knowledge, over your, I guess, year or so of watching MDI, what can you give to them to, like, how do we make this better for users, players, and just overall production?
So yeah, a big discussion in the MDI community right now is just the formatting of the MDI itself. They have a speed run kind of format to where it's like you give these teams these dungeons. They know what dungeons are going to be doing. They know what affixes are going to be doing, and it's just down to who can do it the fastest. And that's cool and all, but the problem that they're having is it's the same 2 to 3 teams every week, just smashing everyone. And the reason why it's the same 2 to 3 teams every week smashing everyone is the fact that those 2 to 3 teams have not only the best players in the world, but they have all the time in the world, right? This is what they do for a living. So the guys that can sit and practice those dungeons for 16 hours a day together are going to have advantage over, say, you know, your really good key pusher on live who plays the game a lot, but may have like a family or something, but doesn't have the time to practice 16 hours a day. Right, so they have a massive advantage over, you know, the other player wanting to get into the MDI because they get to sit and do this all the time. So the discussion is to change the format in a way to where it kind of evens the playing field, where it's like, okay, yes, we understand that, you know, Echo is the best team in the world, right, with the best players in the world, and they're going to have the time to run dungeons a lot more than, say, an up-and-coming team. So to throw a wrench in the game, they don't know what dungeons or what affixes are doing until, 5-10 minutes before the match. So what that does is that makes it to where, okay, you just have to play the game. Now, you know, your average Joe that plays the game, that plays hot, you know, on live and does high keys, you know, I do it all the time. That's what I do, right? And I see other people that I plug with who have 200, 300, 400 keys timed already, you know, 20, 30 plus 20s timed already. Right? That's a lot of game time. All right. And that means they do it every push week. Right. So they're playing all the affixes. They know how to handle them. They have the strategies for them. So to make the playing field even, you know, so a lot of people have been talking about other stuff as well, but I think the best thing to do is just make it completely random. Like, all right, you have Echo and Golden Guardians going up against each other. Okay. That's who's next. They don't know the dungeons until 10 minutes before the match starts. So, all right, here's the 3 dungeons, and then these are the affixes for those 3 dungeons. So the team has 10 minutes to come up with the routes that they would normally use for whatever dungeon, along with their comp, and then go, right? So they're not practicing those dungeons and those affixes for 16 hours a day for 3 days before the tournament. So when they come in, it's literally like, I mean, they could fall asleep during it, right? Because when you do it that much, it's muscle memory, and you're just going through the motions at that point. There's no, what's the word I'm looking for? There's nothing new. It's like there's no surprise.
Just
you already know what's
repetition, right?
Yeah, you already know what's coming, right? And so keys are repetition. But if you threw a wrench in the game and told them, hey, you're not going to know anything until 10 minutes before the match starts. So now the player has to be like, oh shit, okay, well, it looks like we're going to have to just run keys and get on Tournament Realm and just, you know, just run keys with different affixes, practice whatever ones that we think we struggle with the most, and then go from there.
And on the plus side, it gives the standard, like, pub person like you a chance as well, because you are also just pushing keys on live servers where you don't have that controlled environment. So you just come up with things as they come up, right? You can't really practice it. So it gives you a benefit and them a negative, I guess, in a way, right?
Yeah, it evens the playing field, right? Because it's like, this is what I do full time at the moment, with the support from my community and Eminent and the stuff that I do. So I get to play keys a lot, right? But I play with guys who can't push keys as much as I do, but are still really good players, right? So what that does when you make it random and you don't let these high-end teams or these people who do this for a living have the advantage of knowing exactly what they're going to be doing and exactly what they're going to be playing in the tournament, it just evens the playing field and makes someone who, like me, who is a good player, and my team of good players, be able to stand a chance against a team like that, because we both don't know anything and we're both going into the match with, complete curiosity of what we're actually going to be facing.
That makes sense. I kind of like that. I came up with like a random way of doing it as well, is having those teams be able to pick between 3 maps, whatever they are, and then they have a pick between doing, let's say, an 18 through a 21. So if you do end up picking an 18 and let's say you +3 it, you would get X amount of points for it. But if you end up picking the 21 but only 1 star of it, it kind of like balances it out into that sense. So like you could be playing against another person, like the other team, and they might be doing a 19 while you're doing an 18, but you get a 3 and they only get a 2. You might come out and head on the next round, because like there'll be 2 rounds, so 2 dungeons, you get to pick between 3. You get to know the affixes like 10 minutes before, like you said. You get to veto 1, and then you and the other team get to play against it. I think that would be kind of cool, but in the same sense, it'd be hard to set up.
Well, the thing is, so back in Legion when MDI first started, right, the reason why it was so, like, everybody was like, oh man, this is amazing, like I love watching this, like MDI was huge in Legion, right? It was a massive success, and the reason why is because people went in, it was still new, the formatting was new, running keys was new, and they didn't have the practice of spamming dungeons all day, right? So you didn't see these guys go into these high keys and speed run them with no deaths, right? Like you never saw that. There was never you can go back and watch it on the VODs now. There's not a single video in Legion from any of the cups that a match had no deaths. Not a single one, right? And so that right there that right there is fun to watch. When you watch the MDI and you see fucking Echo go in there for the 100th time and go through spires and just destroy the whole key without no deaths, and it's like, okay, cool, they did it again, great, you know what I mean? Like, there's no excitement to it anymore. It's like, oh, you tune in to watch the same teams do the same speed run perfectly because they have all the information to them already, and the format's exactly the same, and it's catered to making the teams spam practice for 16 hours because they know exactly what they're going to get. And I'm all for making MDI higher, like the keys, because you got to realize these players, so what you see in MDI is not what you see on live, right? Like, everyone on live is doing 21s, 22s, 23s, you know what I mean? Like, the best key pushers in the world are 2-chesting 24s, right? So it's like, that's a fast dungeon at a very high level, right? So I would much rather see, if your idea was really dope, but I would much rather see them, that format to where it's like, okay, you're going up against this team, and the teams get to pick the dungeon, right? To where, like, say you have to pick 3 dungeons, and this is how it was in BFA. The players still had a choice, right? Where it's like, all right, these are the 3 dungeons. We have Junkyard, Mechagon, and Wakecrest Manor. Okay, and you had 5 dungeons. There's 5. You had a pool of 5 dungeons, and each team got to veto 1 dungeon. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I love that too. In doing that, you could be like, okay, I know that we have a better Wakecrest than Echo, so I'm going to, but our whatchamacallit, say our AD is not as good as theirs, right? So I'm going to ban AD, and they're going to be like, okay, they have a better Wakecrest, so we're going to ban Wakecrest. So now the 2 dungeons that the teams can do the best are now out, and they have to play dungeons that they may not have practiced as much. So, and in BFA, there was very few runs that were just completely like, just whoop, no deaths across the board because of that format. right? So it's like when you have the format that you have now in Shadowlands, all you're gonna see is these top teams practice for 16 hours a day, come in and destroy everyone else. It's not gonna be a competition. It's not even a competition at the moment. It's Echo and Perplexed just running over everyone.
I think it is like that, but we just don't see the veto side. I could be wrong.
No, it's not. It's not at all. I'm on the MDI Discord, and in the form you get when you log on TR, like I can get on TR right now, right? And I'll have a time trial quest, right? And once I do my time trial quest, and your time trial, say you make it through the time trials, and you're gonna move up in the bracket or whatever, right? You get like, all right, this is your matchup, these are the dungeons, these are affixes. You're going up against Echo, and these are your dungeons you're gonna be playing, and these are affixes that the dungeons are gonna be. It's all preordained.
Oh.
So with that, that's why this discussion's even up in the air right now. It's just because that format makes it to where people like Echo and people like Perplexed, who do this for a living, who are in top,
That
top
have a
guild,
backing, right?
yeah, they have a backing. They're in major org stuff like that. They just shit on anybody else, and what that's gonna do is it's gonna kill the MDI, right? If you look at the AWC, what the players see in the tournament is exactly what is played on live. So there's a connection there, right? With MDI, people like seeing things done quickly. People who watch the MDI, they like speedrunning. They think it's dope. The problem is there's this disconnect because of the way the format is. So they need to make some changes. The community's talking about it, and I really hope that all of this discussion leads to something.
Yeah. Well, that is it for this week's episode of How to Change MDI or How to Make MDI Better. I'm Fox0G. That's Thaz. The link to his Twitch channel will be in the description down below. Make sure to subscribe to him, follow him, as well as subscribe to this channel for more updates and videos just like this and many others. This is Fox0G. We out.